What's up, everybody? It's your boy, Coach T with Chicago Bears 360, back with another live for you. Listen, we got a hot one. We got Kenneth Davis in the building from NBC Sports Chicago and the Under Center podcast. Listen, we're going to talk Chicago Bears football. Of course, we got to talk about the big deal that just broke. Y'all know what's next, man. We got to cue the intro. Maestro, let me find the button. Let's go. Contra.
Life like chess, move to pieces, you know I roll in silence. On the road to them Benjis, I fill my teeth with diamonds. I'm high as fuck in the sky, you would've thought I'm pilot. I'm from Chicago, it get ugly, fill the streets with violence. Life like chess, move to pieces, you know I roll in silence.
Past, present, future. We bear down.
And just like that, we're back, Bears fans. Listen, y'all see the man in the building, none other than Ken Davis from the Under Center podcast, NBC Sports Chicago. So many other things he's accomplished. I'm not going to limit him to that. What's going on, Ken? What's going on? KD. I like KD because, you know, it's a popular athletic term, man. So I'm going to go with KD if you don't mind.
No, that's what a lot of cats ride with. I haven't gotten that since I was a shorty, so I never mind a little KD. That's natural, the KD. So what's going on, Coach T?
Do you got that mid-range game like KD though?
I wish. I'd be lying to you through the screen if I told you I won't even put it like KD, anything close. Man, I tore up my ACL. It's funny, I was thinking about this other day. I tore up my ACL in high school, and my crossover was never the same. Like, that's the little thing I had. I didn't have much after it, but right. I could hit you with that, but it was never the same, man.
Hey, at least you started with the game. I've never been good at basketball. I was just violent on the court and baseball, bro. Baseball is a whole. I got baseball stories from my little shorty days, and when I moved down to Atlanta, when they used to throw pitches at your head, and that was it for me for baseball. Like, they literally throw at your face. So, man, welcome to the program. Look, great to have you on Chicago Bears 360. We've been trying to hook up for a time. We finally made it happen, man. So I appreciate you spending time with us. So we got to jump right into it, man, because we have, some fresh news just broke for the Chicago Bears. Of course, Jalen Johnson's deal has been in negotiations for over a year now, seems like, right? Forever. And Jalen finally gets that deal, 4 years, $76 million, 24 mil per, KD. Bruh. I don't even know what them zeros look like in the account, man. So he's like
second round pick.
Yeah.
Or second, this is real bread, changing. Second round pick. I believe the seventh highest average that you'll have for annually for a cornerback. So he still got up fairly high. I mean, dude, he bet on himself. Like, that's the thing. You sat there, they told you, listen, you don't get enough when it comes to turnovers. Come and show me. He showed you, you're going to have to pay me a little bit more. What could have been somewhere around 16 mil per, maybe it would have been highest 18. Now he showed out, and Ryan Poles did what he's supposed to do. You got it. You have all this money. Why are you going to waste it? You have one of the better quarterbacks. I think before the season, a lot of us would have had Jalen at tier B. You know what I'm saying? Like, but at the top of tier B, but tier B, you still look over the turnover, stuff like that. He's tier A now, like, because the tier is also changing because those guys that have been perennial, I think Jalen's still up there, but Jalen Ramsey isn't Jalen Ramsey like he was several years ago. But just the quarterbacks, it shifts. That's how cornerbacks are. It's one of those positions that it's only so many years where you can be Revis Island. You know what I'm saying? So you got now Jalen being in that upper echelon, and he deserves to get paid, man. They should pay him. You paid Montez Sweat, and he just got here, and you paid him. So congrats to Jalen Johnson, man. He's getting everything he earned and deserved.
Absolutely. Shout out to Jalen Johnson. Definitely deserving of that contract, especially, like you said, when he bet on himself. You know what I'm saying? It could have been apparently Jalen wasn't, as we call it, flogging out here in these streets, because he said when he was joking around, 23 million per might be my number. So, Ryan probably got taxed on that. You know what I'm saying? If he had 23 in mind before, he probably had to stack $1 million on that. Is that, I can't remember, a more lucrative cornerback deal in recent Chicago Bears history. And my memory's not the best, but wouldn't you say this is probably
the highest? It's the highest. You have to think Peanut first big deal probably, or was probably nice, and then you think about we were going through that period where it was like, is he going to switch to safety or what? And then Peanut kind of got back into playing really good cornerback again, and then he left to go to Carolina and he got hurt down there. That would have to be the closest one outside of some of those guys during Lovey's era they signed in free agency, and none of them got anything close to this. This right here is one of the larger deals probably the Bears have given out. But as far as defensive backs, I think the only one close coached he has to be Eddie Jackson when he first got that deal in 2018. Has to be the closest defensive back contract that the Bears have probably given out.
Now, I'm not sure if you're familiar with our format. You know what I'm saying? Chicago Bears 360 is Chicago Bears football from a coach's perspective. I'm always going to take it back to the schematics. And my X's O mind says, how much of an impact, and even if it came up, it'd probably be trashy to come up in a negotiation, but how much of an impact having Montez Sweat on this team help those numbers a little bit? Because listen, there's a connection. You have to have pass rush, cornerback connection. You're not getting those opportunities if you don't have somebody getting home, you know what I'm saying, up front. What do you think, should he slide Montez Sweat, you know what I'm saying, a little slide him a Richard Millie or something, you know what I'm saying, or something like that.
I think a watch. I think half a mil, you know what I'm saying, and I mean, I'm being facetious, but no, when you're talking about pressure, all right, you can be the best defensive back. And that's not to say if you have the speed and agility, you may not be able to bait a quarterback into thinking the receiver is open, and then you can attack the ball. But if we're talking pure X's and O's as you're fluent in, we're talking about how the pressure increased when Montez Sweat got there. And I believe Jalen had at least 2.5 to 3 of those interceptions after Montez Sweat, at least 2 of them after Montez Sweat was there. So, no, it definitely factored in, even though I think he was having a really good year anyway. But, but that's also – I'll say this to go along with you saying that, it also plays a reason on why not to let him go. Because you paid Montez Sweat and now you're sitting there getting the pressure. Why would you sit there and put so much on Ty Stevenson and be like, last year, it was bumpy, even though we saw how talented you are, but you got to go in there and Terrell Smith to be like, no, it doesn't make sense. You have this money for a reason. Pay Jalen, but to go along with what you're saying, totally there's a correlation between the pressure that Montez Sweat provided, because the defensive line wasn't getting any type of pressure outside of the stuff that Eberflus had to scheme up and blitz, and when he didn't really want to blitz when the defense wasn't working right in the first place. So outside of that, Montez Sweat was providing most of that heat. You didn't get it from Yannick Ngakoue. You didn't get it from Yannick Ngakoue like we hoped. We'd at least get something as far as pressures on passing downs. So yeah, I'm with you when it comes to that.
So I like to take this thing from the top down, bottom up. We kind of play around with the format today. You know what I'm saying? Kevin Warren has drawn a little smoke from Bears fans out here over the last day or two, because there's reports out there that he's involving himself in the decision. You know what I'm saying? A little bit, probably more than fans would like. One group would like more than others. You know what I'm saying? Some of us would, prefer his input depending on which way it goes. But fans are drawing his input, especially coming off the Jared Payton interview. What are you hearing? What do you sense from the president, Kevin Warren, in terms of what tenor, which way is you think he's leaning in the decision and how it's going to go?
I think it has to cross his desk. I think Ryan Poles has to have his ear, because he's still Ryan Poles' boss, regardless. I would say this: you look at what Kevin Warren had been involved in Minnesota and with the St. Louis Rams. I think there are situations that he can provide some information with perhaps some of the coaches and general managers he's worked with in the past, but I also think there's a limit. As far as what the expertise, when you're talking about Ryan Poles and his scouts and what they're supposed to bring to the table. And if they're supposed to, that's their job and their side of the room and what they're supposed to know. But you still have to look at who signs the checks. You know what I'm saying? So it's always that situation. When you talk about bringing in a free agent, when you talk about making a trade and how that trade may affect you, plus or minus, you always have to go to Kevin Warren. That's part of the reason he's there. Let's not forget, and people that I don't think we can compare this. And I know why some people may have a problem because you're talking about Ted Phillips. That's really what we get into. What we the
always go
tax
back to
guy.
what we used to.
Yeah, that's everything in this discussion we're gonna have today is gonna go back, and it's rightfully so because we've been an abused fan base. You know what I'm saying? Like, we've been an extremely abused fan base, so we have hit dog reactions. But no, I'm fine with it as long as that's like, all right, you're an X's and O's guy, right? I by no means will say I'm as proficient in that as you are, right? So let's just say hypothetically, we're having a discussion, and there are definitely some things I know. But that'd be stupid for me not to listen to you be like, yeah, you can. But listen, watch this outside leverage that he usually goes with right here. So it'd be you talking about something. Of course. What's the point of having someone up? I'm sitting here today at home. I'm listening to the old lady working. I'm not going to get into what she does for a living, but I'm hearing her having a meeting. And she's just talking about to some of the her delegates, just heads up, pay attention to this and look out for that. That's getting to the point of your Kevin Warren. That's what Kevin Warren should be bringing as far as, hey, make sure the X's and T's are crossed. Hey, did you check this out? Yes, he should have some say, but I do think there may be limits in how much say we're really talking about the guys that are supposed to know football stuff.
Absolutely. I like their dynamic. I like the fact that they're admittedly right next to each other. There's a check and balance right there. There's accountability. But put my other hat on there because I'm not getting at what I do for a living. You know what I'm saying? You know, there's a lot to be said by a guy that makes his way up to being CEO, president of a major organization. And just for that, just the wisdom, the life experience and the wisdom to be able to bounce that off of and say, hey, you know what I'm saying? Did you think about this long term? Did you think about that that short term? And like you said, crossing the T's, dotting the I's, and so on and so forth. Let's keep this thing rolling because we're going to talk about the man next himself because he's making the decision ultimately, right? He's holding the card at the end of the day, the ace of spades, so to speak, in the decision. But we're not gonna. I'm gonna save the decision talk for last because that's what y'all really want. Y'all want to see. This is the teaser. That's what y'all really want, and to keep y'all around, we saving that for last because we're not getting into that. Because I know what y'all want me. Y'all know what y'all want me to do with Katie. We're not doing that right now. But the other holes outside the quarterback position, what do you think Ryan Poles needs to focus on? Because do you think we're right there? We can make the swing now, or are we far off? And I'm talking about Super Bowl run. I'm talking about KC status.
No, you're not. Don't make the swing just yet, because this will be similar. And I'm not saying it was terrible, but we know what came to fruition to Khalil Mack's swing. If we're talking about, and also, hold on, let me bring that back. They have made two swings. To be honest with you, they traded and brought in a top flight wide receiver. When you're talking about DJ Moore, they traded and brought in the better of the two defensive ends from the Commanders. When a lot of us initially, when you're talking about the blonde hair, remember him at Ohio State and Chase Young was like, yo, out. But again, I'm sure a lot of us like that knee. And if they don't want it, I'm worried about that knee too and being degenerative. So there have been swings. But to get to your question, I'm going to tell you this. I don't think you try to deplete the salary cap money because there's going to be busts and there are going to be players who you bring in that are vets who either lose that fire or get hurt and will not perform to the level that you expect. And that may be the same as far as players that I just said bust. They may end up being hurt and may not play to the level that is expected. And some either pro personnel or draft pick that you are going to need to feature is not going to perform to the level that you may have end up having to spend said funds moving forward. You kind of need to see what this football team is. You need to see now that you've brought in Montez Sweat, what a Matt Eberflus can do with an offseason if it can get better. Now that he has his fingerprints on the defense, let's see the improvement on that. Let's see what Shane Waldron does. And in saying that, you still need elements. I think the Bates thing is cool. The Bates thing is cool if we really know what's going on with what the Bills were going to do. Because if they was cutting everybody, we may have to revisit that bad boy if they was trying to get $40 million low. But maybe they cut their center, so maybe they was going to hold on to Bates. But who knows? And that's for a different discussion. One of the things that I was big on last season prior to the season commencing was more depth on the offensive line. No, I'm not talking about premium starters. I'm just talking about someone who's done it and you know can be a stopgap. You definitely need, you're going to need somebody that's going to be at least able to play guard, center, and you need a swing tackle if you are adamant about Braxton Jones being your left tackle moving forward. So I think those are places you got to look for when you're talking about free agency in the draft. I still think in free agency they probably still need to get another lineman if it can be a lesser tackle, but somebody, because your tackles are going to either get hurt just like your interior linemen are going to get hurt. Right. Looking at the wide receiver position, if you want to get one of those speed, low BC guys to go opposite of DJ while also drafting, I think that's the way you want to go. I'm not big on putting a ton of money in one of the rooms when I'm talking about really edge rusher or wide receiver, because you're going to have to repay DJ. DJ Moore is going to get repaid the next year and a half. They're not waiting till his contract concludes and it's a team-friendly contract. He's going to come back to the table early, and they're probably going to give it to him because they're going to want to probably keep him happy. Montez Sweater's already paid, so then you have to figure out how much money are you trying to sink into the defensive ends to go along with the wide receiver. Defense, yeah, and also go ahead. I don't mean to cut you off. Go ahead.
No. I was going to say, so you know what I'm saying? We spoke about Kevin Warren. It has to, you know, the decision has to come across his desk. You're saying we're not ready for a swing yet, whether it's your players you pick on this roster or through free agency. Because to me, the swing means you go out there a la Bill Belichick, GM Bill Belichick, and you get those one or two free agents that puts you in a position to make a Super Bowl run, right? One of the errors that I documented on the program was I thought Detroit swung too early and they swung wrong, right? They swung too early and they swung wrong, meaning they signed those rookies last year who were outstanding throughout the season, Jahmyr Gibbs, Laporta, but you signed rookies to put you in the Super Bowl run, not getting veterans, and that ended up costing you in the biggest game because it was the rookies that wet the bed in the NFC Championship game. So it's all about timing, because I think the decision is connected to timing, right? And making sure that roster that you don't fall too short, but you make a good enough run to build your confidence as a team. So you called out, you know, more O-line positions, more of course, getting that wide receiver. I think we go draft with that. Interior defensive line. I think for a lot of fans, they just think about, hey, we're about 4 or 5 players away. We can make a Super Bowl run. You still got to add depth to. And to comment on your point about Ryan, why is it skipping me right fast? The offensive line.
Also, go ahead, Bates.
I want our fans to keep in mind that, and I said this on Twitter, X, whatever we call it these days, that I believe because Ryan Poles and Ian Cunningham are offensive linemen, and they're so aligned. A lot of my takes is built off of the football operations and what it takes to build the offense and how that works, right? And the one thing I've hung my hat on this whole time, KD, is they kept Simo and they kept Coach Dre. People that don't really dive into football or go through the operations of it don't understand how critical that is. And I believe they're aligned on how they approach finding offensive linemen. So we may see, oh, he plays guard, but Simo may see a whole different thing. I know exactly what to do with this talent, how to coach it, put him in his position so he's going to excel. After all, he took a 5th round rookie out of Utah State and made him into something. What is your how does that rest in on you a little bit? Is it?
No, I'm gonna piggyback it. Because I think that what Ryan Poles does with his coaches, and we've seen it from what Simo did with Darnell Wright as far as the workouts last year, whatever. They use their coaches for information when they're doing drafting. And in saying that, I would think that Ryan Poles was using Simo for pro personnel when they signed Ryan Bates to an offer sheet that was matched by the Bills 2 seasons ago. To go along with what you're saying, as far as I can see what I can do with this guy has the tools that I can use him in a myriad of ways. So no, I think I'm totally on point with that. You know what I'm saying?
Like having with having limited picks, right? You only had 6. You use one. Okay, so one year you land a pretty solid player, a 5th rounder, and turn them into something, and to use that same round to trade for a specific player, to me, you know what I'm saying? If you mix that all together, it's not just something. It's just not a depth piece. They're intentional about what they're doing, and they know what they're going after. So we've identified some players.
Let me add something real quick too.
Go ahead.
You need a real stopgap too. It's not like a knock on like Jatari Carter or Doug Kramer. There's something to say, particularly when you talk about that first year, how they were limited in draft picks. They didn't have a first round draft pick. So you were drafting guys and hoping, like Braxton Jones, you can hit on some of these guys. But you get to the point where you need proven guys as depth. And you can't go back into the season with, I'm going to get a bunch of rookies or unsigned draft picks that can provide the depth to these offensive linemen, because you know they're all going to go down, in my opinion.
Appreciate that. Listen, now we're going to get into the decision. We're going to talk about the thing that everybody wants to talk about in Bears, whatever. By the way, you know what I'm saying? Somebody, I think it was Mike Wilbon that said yesterday, this might be the most divisive in Chicago sports history. I tweeted this morning that this is going to make an epic 30 for 30. And depending on how you land on this, this is all I'm asking for ESPN. So if you run across this, make sure y'all get this. All right. If I don't get a clip in that, you know what I'm saying, that whole 30 for 30, I'm going to have smoke for y'all. I'm just telling y'all right now, if I don't get a 30 for 30 clip, it's going to be a problem. I want to see that little logo up there and me running my mouth on that clip, making the tape. So before we get into it, I want to play a little. I'm gonna take you back down a little Chicago Bears 360 memory lane, if you will. This is my first interview on the subject with none other than Justin Fields, arguably his private quarterback coach here in Atlanta, in the local area. This is what he had to say about Caleb Williams.
I actually got to watch a good bit of Caleb Williams, and that's just something I was gonna do anyway. He is a tremendous talent. Now, honestly, I don't think that Lincoln Riley's offense is an offense that does a lot in terms of preparing you for the NFL. And what I mean by that is putting you in a position where you're doing things that are going to be similar or congruent with things you're going to do in the NFL. That RPO, that air raid system is not something that creates like reads and those fundamentals. Can Caleb Williams do it? I'm very confident that he can. Has he done it before? No, he's not. Right? So
I'm going to stop it with that. Right? So followers of the program, and we're having a different conversation. It's not what should we do, right? It's not what should we do or what not what Ryan Poles is going to do. I like to have a different conversation because, and I don't know necessarily how to frame it, but the conversation goes to the point of, regardless of what happens, if we take Caleb Williams, we have to manage expectations. Now, I've been documented as a Justin Fields guy. I want us to take Justin Fields because I think the shorter, easier path for us building a winning franchise. I'm a team guy. I want to build a team. I want to, you know what I'm saying? I don't like the individual, hey, he's individually great. I like the team element of it. Plus the Hall I'm a business guy too. So, but this is the part that I said long before I had Quincy Avery on the program and some of these other people going here. The challenge would be when I did my breakdown of Caleb Williams' film is exactly what Quincy said. Lincoln Riley's offense, Caleb Williams in that offense. Now, I threw a number out there at the time when I did the evaluation. I said 70 to 75% of the time on pass plays, Caleb Williams is running an RPO, 1 read, 2 read offense. He's not making full progression reads across the field. That does not translate well to the NFL, right? And then I later on did Jayden Daniels' film, and I said, man, 90% of the time, this dude is doing NFL reads, full field reads, and he's my top guy, right? Before you answer, now this is a schematic problem for me. Now you heard Quincy said can he do it? Yes. Has he done it? No. And my football schematic integrity would not allow me to be like, oh yeah, get him now, or allow them to attach to the generational label to that, because people like Andrew Luck and Joe Burrow could do it now because they played in the pro offense. I want you to hear this part, and then I want you to respond. Here's another person that came out unprompted. I don't know if he was prompted or not, but anyway, he came out. I want you to hear what our boy Ryan Leaf had to say on the subject.
Take Caleb Williams. ... Mm-hmm. Finish that.
If they take him, I would be. You better be under the understanding that you're going to sit him this year, and that's not going to happen. So
why would you sit him?
Well, because 75% of what he made him so great in college is not transferable to the NFL. He's not going to be able to do that. He can't do what he did in college 75% of the time and be successful at the NFL level. He can do the 25% part at the NFL level, but he needs some time. He needs to get under center. He needs to understand how to throw on time, on platform, from the pocket. What he can do off platform is what makes him so exciting, because he may be one of the most talented quarterbacks in this year's draft and many in the past year's draft. But he is a guy that I don't think can be a starter on day one. And I think they wanted to do that with.
I'm going to cut that off, right? So I know how to frame it now after listening to Ryan Leaf, right? That's what we will do, and that's what we should do. I'm going to leave it open-ended question and say, okay, after hearing that, how should the Chicago Bears approach this? And then how do you think they will?
I think they should approach it with what they believe, one, gives them the most consistent way to consistently contend. Let's just even, I'm a Lord playoff-wise. The Super Bowl is the option, but if you can get into the playoffs consistently year after year, you're getting more attempts at the Super Bowl, which is something that for the most part, for you and I, the Bears haven't been able to do since the 80s, if we're being honest, to every year legitimately have a chance to make the playoffs. And back then in the 80s, they had a chance to get to the Super Bowl. That's why we was upset a lot and feel like they should have won more than one Super Bowl back in the 80s. So that's one, what I think. So then to go to your point as far as building a team, I do think if you can get you a Herschel Walker situation, and I said this 2 weeks ago on Under Center, with some people getting mad at me saying that if that 2 trade down option, that's a legendary haul. I wouldn't be able to be like, nah. Like if you're telling me when they were talking about when Peter King was talking about damn near 4 picks in the next 2 drafts, it would be hard for me being someone to be like, yeah, I understand why they probably going to end up drafting Caleb. It'd be hard for me not to take that because I set myself up in 2 years to go and get whoever y'all, because okay, we get it. Next year's draft, there's not going to be someone quote unquote generational. We all know this is about every 3 to 4 years where the hype is going to get to that level. So I could set myself to be back in the running, maybe, because they may have messed up and could have had CJ Stroud last year and not have anybody. And that's still a point as far as how are you breaking down film and how are you evaluating guys? Because said you thought he was just straight, and clearly he's just not straight, in my opinion, as far as what I'm taking from what they said, not what Ryan Poles has said. Now to get to your point of what I think they're going to do, two things can be true. Everything said about the air raid system there is facts. If you're talking about Baker, Murray, Mahomes,
Hurts,
all these guys, they were still more development when they got to the pros. There's nothing. Even if you look at what Ryan Leaf was saying, I think that there can be some truth, but in knowing that they're not probably going to sit them. But what you have then to do, if we really believe, is everything that we just said earlier, as far as Seymour and Dre, as far as what they believe their coaching staff should be doing. I'm not talking about Eberflus and all that mess as far as being teachers, and I'm not saying the coaches shouldn't be teachers. I'm saying the evaluation on some of his teachers that he brought with him can be questionable when we see what took place inside of Hallis Hall last season, right? But when you're sitting there and talking, when you're having Shane Waldron and you're having this discussion, Coach T, I hope they know that. I hope you know what Caleb's limitations are right now. And you're not going to sit here and be like, yeah, we're going to sit here and have him do an X, Y. No, he has to grow into learning how to do that properly if you're going to succeed. Like, so you can't force the entire offense upon him and expect, even if you give him the book, you find out what he's comfortable with. Then you start working with off of what he's comfortable with. One, of course, the same play, different options. All right, all that type of. Then you start working on and bridging on other things that's similar but not exactly the same. That's what I would hope they do. They were going to do. Now, as far as Justin, because just to get, again, I want to be you bring me on here, and I don't want anybody to say that you didn't get the full truth out of me or anything. I love Justin Fields. I'm always going to love Justin Fields. It's never going to change. There was a large part to me this year where all I wanted was Justin to succeed, and to see Justin, and it even switched more and harder to where I'm like, you know what? I love the fact that Justin is going through all this in Chicago, because you can see the type of young man he is. And it'll be nothing better than to see him take these lumps and all this bullshit, as far as, you know, when Bajent was playing and how people just came out crazy out of the woodwork, like it's a duel or something. We're talking about one of the top quarterbacks coming through college, as far as Justin, when he came through college, his pedigree coming from high school. And it's not a knock on Tyson Bajent. It's just how people just popped out and showed you who they really are.
It was disrespectful.
It was, when you're talking, like, let's be serious here, whatever, you know. So, but I'm with it. But then it reaches a point where if you're a person, as far as Ryan Poles, and it's not even just a pure straight, this isn't my quarterback. It's a pure straight money. That, I think, like, that's the thing still when we're looking at it. That's what he's hitting at first. I think money is big, but also you upside to where, and I say this to everybody, let's just say Caleb and Justin, let me be honest with y'all. Caleb and Justin right now are not this. All right. And for anybody listening to this, I got my hands up even. Justin, we're talking about the NFL. Justin is above Caleb because Justin has played inside of the NFL. Regardless. NFL. You know what you even if there's a floor, you know Justin's floor, and you know what you've seen portions of what Justin's ceiling could perhaps be when Justin is humming. The question is, looking at, if you even look at college, you look at Caleb was asked to do more because he was playing with less. It's not a knock on Justin. This is shout out to Urban Meyer. I'm not going to shout out Ryan Day. I'm not the biggest Ryan Day cat. But shout out to Urban Meyer. And honestly, he's not a good person, but when you talk to building a program, Urban Meyer either had the first or second best recruiting class annually outside of Bama and Clemson is no longer even there anymore. And you look at, and it's still due to Urban Meyer, even though Ryan Day's running the program, you look at the class that Ohio State's bringing in this year. You know what I'm saying? Like, that USC team, and I think people, for instance, that aren't paying attention to Pac-12, and you hear SC, think that there's been like a small gap between the last time SC was its blue blood self. This is a 2-year window of Lincoln Riley trying to get them back. They not back, and they may never be back. And look, I'm a Tide guy. The Tide will never be what it was under Nick Saban. I don't care what happens. You don't have runs like that. That's an outlier, and you should appreciate it. And in saying all of that, I'm just still saying the talent that was around Caleb while he was at SC. So, and then I'm just looking at like some of the comments from yesterday. Somebody was saying that I was dissing Justin's stands. One, did I call you a stand? Because there's a difference on when we're saying stand. When I was implying stand, for anybody that needs to know, I meant someone that's being irrational and not listening. That has nothing to do with I want Justin to be here. I think Justin should be here. These are the reasons Justin should be here. And the stand part goes to the Caleb stands. And I've had to get on those people that are overreacting and taking shots at Justin and acting like Justin not shit. Was like, wait, what? It vacillates and it swings so crazy. We don't have to do that. We're actually, and either way you look at it from your perspective of build the team out more, or you know what, this could be a really good quarterback. We're finally in a good position. But, and believe me, I know nothing works well for us. So we sitting here and we know what Justin is, and that's knowing what Justin's potential could be. And I think we all think Justin's going to be better than what he is as of right now. And let me say this too, Justin, and to our earlier conversation, if you try to, let's just say hypothetically, compare, and Caleb Williams, let's say Caleb comes in here and has a good year. You can't use an apples to apples comparison to Caleb with his Bears term to Justin because
they will, you know,
they will. But you can see, but I'm about context. I know the lazy stuff that people do. That's BS. I'm about let's say the real context. You can, but you can. But the thing is, we can look. What we need to do is back up and look down 3 to 4 years later. But still, Coach T, you still have to say when Caleb got here, they was way better when Justin was ever here, if that's what they end up doing. Because they had DJ Moore. DJ Moore, one used to being here. They're gonna bring in 2 more receivers. And I when I say free agents, I mean through the draft too. I think they should. I don't think you can go into that wide receiver room with just rookies and not another vet to help along with DJ Moore. They definitely have to. And this type of draft too, where you have so many young wide receivers now that you may have to wait to the 3rd round, particularly if you can't do anything with 9 or if they move off of 9 or whatever. But getting back to my point, defensively, they're a better team defensively this year than they was the last couple of years with Justin's first year with Nagy and then the year before.
They're not going to acknowledge that, bro.
But that's what we're supposed to do. I'm just saying, like, that's what
we don't call it out every time.
Yeah, but that's what real people see. I'm not that big of a social media cat because it's a lot of games, and I'm not knocking anybody doing it. And you can make a lot of money doing it, and some people are just using it to relax and whatever. So I'm not knocking, but for me, it lacks true discussion, and it's like hot take, hot take, hot take, hot take. We can sit here and have a real discussion on something and still disagree. You can still say, like, kid, I hear what you're saying. I'm still gonna trade down. And what will I say? That doesn't make any sense. It does make sense. But it does. Go ahead, man. Because I've been ranting. Let me let you.
No. It's good because guess what? We had to address it because I'm like, what the hell is going on, bro? I just announced my guest for the show tomorrow. And I don't listen. I'm just gonna be honest with you. You know what I'm saying. Most of the time when I'm tweeting and working at the same time. It's a nice distraction to keep the conversation going and keep me from stressing over what I do during the day. You know what I'm saying. So I'm tweeting and stuff. So a lot of times I don't get a chance to see full shows of anybody other than I don't even watch my own shows on playback.
I'm the same way.
People don't realize I don't care what level you're doing this on. We're so busy. We don't get a chance to check each other out and say what they said. So I didn't know where it was come from. The last time I had seen you guys say anything was I think, and I'm saying I don't know. I think it was along the lines that, hey, you know what I'm saying? We're riding with Justin or something like that. And then the comments was like, oh, he flipped it up, blah, blah, blah. This, that, and the other. He switched it up. He was talking about Justin's fans. And I'm like, bro, what happened? What happened?
Well, it switched. First of all, it switched.
So right? Let me ask you this. What if you were there before, what changed for you that said, okay, you know what I'm saying? Because I understand what's happening. Things, it hasn't done that for me. So I don't understand that part of it. But when you get, like when I got down to Mobile, it's certain things I saw and I was like, this player, I don't see that player as the same way as I saw him before. So you guys are in there. You got people at the combine. So maybe something you heard or saw. By the way, man, tell Josh, if he pull up on me and the boys in public again, you better introduce himself as Josh Rock of NBC Sports, because you know what I'm saying, you just a random white guy just pulling up on the boys at the lounge while we drinking. Ain't no telling how that's gonna go. I'm just telling you. Anyway, shout out to Josh, by the way. Listen, I'm gonna tell you what happened. I'm gonna tell the story. We're gonna get back to it. I posted the picture on Twitter X of me, my guy Will, and Kerry Joseph, who we talked to that night for like 2.5 hours. The next night for 2 more hours. We talking ball. Now, me, I don't have to ask you about what we're doing with Justin and this, that, and the other to get information. You know what I'm saying? I'm a football, X's and O nerd. So we talking ball. I'm talking schematics. So now if you ask me what I think we're gonna run offensively and stuff like that, I could talk to you till you blue in the face based off of our conversation. But I think people thought that I asked them directly, hey, what's going on with Justin? What we doing with Justin? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like there was much more to talk about. So, and Josh, I think Josh pulled up. I didn't even know who he was. I was like, bro, who is this? I was like, never mind, bro. Anyway, I would, and then
y'all were talking to Joseph, and Josh pulls up and just didn't say nothing and interrupted y'all?
This how I went. We was talking to Kerry, right? We was talking to Kerry for like 2 hours. And then afterward, we was like, hey man, let's get a picture. So we took a picture and I tweeted, I said, hey, you know what I'm saying? Interesting conversation. You know what I'm saying? Of course, I'm teasing it. You know what I'm saying?
Of
I got a
course.
platform to
Hey,
build too. You know what I'm
you
saying?
right.
I know the game. Come on now. Not like last night. So I tweeted out interesting conversation, which it was for me. I'm a coach. So if I'm talking X's and O's with an NFL coach, it's interesting. What other word am I supposed to use? Now I'm ranting because people came back at me and was like, "Oh, bro, pull that down." If you go to my page, the picture's not up there no more. I'm not gonna tell y'all what happened and who reached out. I'm just gonna say anyway. I'm gonna put it like that. I'm still kind of hot about that because that one got about 50,000, 60,000, 70,000 views, and it could probably still be going crazy if they would have left it up. Anyway, yeah. So after we had the conversation, Josh, I mean, it went viral. So Josh must have saw the picture, and he was sitting in the hotel lobby where the bar was. We were, and like 5 minutes after I tweeted out, and I still don't know for a fact it's him, but it looked like him still. That's why I'm trying to verify because it's bothering me. He
Send me
came
the
up.
picture.
He came up and he didn't introduce himself. I don't remember. He was like, "So you guys, so you just had a conversation with Kerry Joseph," and I'm like. And then he pointed to my boy Will, and he thought Will was Coach T, and I was somebody else. So I was like, man, the hell you on? You know what I'm saying? Who are you? Get away from me. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm like, I got a platform to build too. If you on Scoop, then you need to holler at your boy in the DMs, and we'll talk about whatever you're doing, and we'll cut a deal. I'm a businessman at the end of the day. Anyway, tell Josh to holler at me, man. It's all love. When I got back, I was like, bro, is that him? Was that him? Anyway, man, it was funny.
I'll see.
Yeah, because I was like,
I'll ask him. Josh is cool. Josh is cool as shit. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Like Josh, he gets it. All right, I'll put it like that. Yeah. He gets it. All right,
yeah, he gets it. I was after again. It was like 2 weeks later. I'm scrolling on Twitter, and he's doing an interview with somebody. I'm like, that looks like the dude from Mobile that pulled up on it. Anyway, man, you gotta holler at your boy, Josh. What's going on with that? Either way, I want to make 2 points off of what you were talking about. And guess what? You said you didn't get a chance to answer. When did the switch up happen, though?
All right.
What?
The switch up happened.
And all kinds of stuff, man. I ain't heard Judas, bro. They didn't got biblical with it.
I mean, you know, in this world, it gets like you. Dog, the age I'm at, you know what I'm saying? I used to have to come outside. All right. Like, if there was like, I used to have to see that dude. And so this stuff is like, I guess, if that's how you get down, that's how you get. It's just to me, the lengths and the disrespect where it's like, dude, you going personal over something. You making it seem like I said, fuck Justin Fields. That never came out of my mouth. Now, getting to the question as far as when did it happen?
Yeah.
It happened with the injury and Justin not having enough time when he came back, to be honest with you. The initial, my initial switch wasn't 100%. This is what I want. It initially was, this is what they're going to do. That's what the initial was like. It's not enough time now. And it was also with, all right, I believe Justin had maybe 6 games left when he returned. It was like, he got to be dynamiting 4 of them. You know what I'm saying? Like for them to be like, what we think we have as far as, you know, a bird in the hand being the bird in the bush, Caleb being the one in the bush. It had to be like that. And that's where it was like, dude, they're going to move off. And then for me, because I'm not going to absolve myself and just like, no, I'm here to take the heat. It was time as far as reestablishing the window. All right. But also potential. And I understand potentially what Ryan Poles may think that he has, where it's like, it's not the just, well, I didn't draft him, forget Justin. I don't think that. I think when you would be a dumb general manager if you have as talented of a player as Justin Fields and you just want to discard him because you didn't want to draft him, because you didn't draft him. Just like last year when they did their evaluation, if Bryce Young was one of if this was last year's draft, they may have moved off of Justin. If these players in this draft, and also I'm with you on the Jaden Daniels thing. I've actually have mentioned, hey, I may move down and get Jaden Daniels, and like I'm not. It's something. So anyway, and that's when it was kind of like, look, I see why they would do it, and with there still being questions, regardless of how big of a fan you are, and I'm already preferenced it with Justin hasn't had the greatest shake. but you still have to be honest with. You still got to talk about fourth quarter comebacks. You still got to talk about yardage in the fourth quarter. That even guys with bad offensive lines and bad and weapons that are depleted as far as his skill players have ginned up magic in the fourth quarter. You know, and that's not to say that I don't believe Justin can do that in the past, because I'm not a person that was like, man, you need to move off of motherfucker Justin. No, I still would believe it could come, but it hasn't come if we're being honest. And that's still something. So in looking at all of that and understanding what they would do, but also in my own mind, not trying to absolve myself, being like, I get it. And I get why this makes sense at this juncture to probably make this move. Now, when people, and I'm gonna tell this is people not being totally honest, and particularly, and again, I'm with you. I don't watch everybody's shit. I don't watch my own shit. So there's no offense to it. I always say with before.
I'm just be honest.
Me, I'm look, I'm like Pac. I'm like, look, once lay the track, I'm gonna drop it. Go put the other track on. Let's keep going, right? I'm not worried about the mixing. Somebody else can mix this mug, right? That's how it goes. You know what I'm saying? You got producers for all that. Shout out to our producers. All right. But what people didn't say was prior to all of this, during the majority of the season, I was like, forget the Bears. I'm pro Justin. Justin needs to get the fuck up out of here. So people should have led with that. My thing was, I don't trust them, and I want him to get paid, and they're messing with his money. It's been my biggest thing for the entire season is I want him to get real QB money. Now, if he gets another great contract, great for Justin, but I at least want him to get one because I think he deserves it. And he's been put in a situation to where it didn't benefit him. You know, you come in with a new general manager that rips everything down. It messes with what people viewed as your potential. Now, even if you listen to, and a lot of this is BS with people trying to deplete the trade value of Justin or whatever, when people are talking about perhaps what the Bears could get, a lot of people, then there's still the hate. There's the hate when you heard the epileptic shit that dropped right before he hit the draft or whatever. But that's also why you see these cats not giving up their medicals, because it's like, ain't nobody about to sling some mud at me. And I'm not just even talking about Caleb. I'm talking about the Malik Neighbors, the high, people, because let's just use Malik. Let's just use exactly. Let's just use Malik Neighbors, right? Why would Malik Neighbors allow you to take his height, knowing that depending on and not to say how tall he is, but depending on how it goes, y'all gonna be using that to say Roman Doomsday should go above him throughout the whole 2 months right now. It's gonna be, I'm not giving you shit. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm in control of this situation. I got NIL money, and I'm going in the top 6. You're not like, so you get that, but getting all the way back to Justin, I wanted what's best for him in general. That was my thing, because I didn't know how much they believed in him, and I still thought they did him at times a disservice. I thought the offensive line could have been better. All right, that's one of the biggest things. When you're talking about a quarterback who didn't run like this in college, who is first year under Nagy, we saw the athleticism, but he really didn't know when to take off because it wasn't what he was doing while he was at Ohio State. To the second year, he was like, I'm gonna run for I'm gonna get the fuck out, and showed us he was the most dynamic dude in the league when you're talking about running quarterbacks. Till Lamar got healthy and won MVP last year, but you arguably could say, look, he up there with Lamar as far as his escapability. But but the thing what I used to say to people, the last year, not the season before, Justin ain't coming to this season. You're a coach. It's like, man, I'm training to run 1,000 yards. He didn't anticipate, like, man, I'm about to run for a G. No, he thought the offense was going to work. He may run for 700 or whatever, but that's the situation they put him in, that he had to use and accentuate his legs when that wasn't even necessarily the way that he wanted to do it. Most people like the whole narrative of this. Well, Justin, he's not looking downfield. And I'm not saying there's not times that earlier in the year you didn't see when he was breaking the pocket, looking down the field. My point was, this wasn't the quarterback you got from college. That wasn't part, like you again, when we were sitting to give about context. It's the context. And I get a lot of people, and I'm not saying like, man, I'm Kenneth Davis, I know this shit. It's not what I'm saying, but I hope that I have watched enough to remember the context so that I can be like, yeah, but look at this too. And also think about this, because it's easy to say something quick and be like, well, Justin never is looking downfield. That's not the quarterback. Justin wasn't a mobile. He was a quarterback that could run, but not a dual threat quarterback at Ohio State. So when you're saying, so it's different, even if we go back to Lamar at Louisville, all right, under Petrino, Lamar, and that was a pro-style offense, but Lamar had been breaking pockets forever because that was part of what Lamar did. So it's just one of those things, getting to it, where I'm always going to be pro-Justin. And some people also, look, I'm a grown-up. take your shots. If that makes your day better, great. Because it's not because it's even also let me say this too. The first cat that replied, I love this about social media. Like it was like, man, I don't know about Ken or whatever. Then we had a positive exchange, and I jokingly, I'm like, man, I apologize or whatever. And then he was like, wink if they said just do something. I put the wink. First of all, dog, NBC Sports does not give a rat's ass who the Bears quarterback is. I'm just being honest with you. First of all, and they don't in general, but also remember the Bears don't own part of this. So it's not even, and I'm not saying the teams that do that they're sitting here controls, but I'm saying the Bears don't own nothing to do. Only thing they want is clicks because of what's moving content. And they never telling me, hey, do this for the that's not the thing. You know what I'm saying? I'm not saying they not trying to be profitable. You know what I'm saying? And I'm not saying there's a lot doesn't go into the business. It's a business. But as far as telling me,
question, did they have a hand in your back? And I appreciate no. Okay.
No one. Like if I could say that,
I want to say this, KD. Obviously, you've given this a lot of thought. You're passionate about the subject. So what I want to get to was it wasn't without introspection that you came to the conclusion. And this is where for me it draws a little bit of balance, right? I you know what I'm saying? What they should do and what I think they should do and what I think they will do, for me, it aligns, right? It's what they should do, but it goes a lot deeper, and I'm gonna provide you why in a minute. But I can tell for a lot of people, because there's been other people that switch that they're less visible, right? But and there's been people that switch from being a Caleb guy to switching to Justin, or putting things in perspective and recognizing even that. Matter of fact, this is a great way to set this up. There have been people a lot more visible than you and I that switch from Caleb is the dude, and I call this one too because I'm a big Darren Orlovsky fan. I'm a big fan of Dave. I'm a fan of anybody that gets in and does the film work, especially. Big switch, bigger platform, get up. This is what Dan said. I'm gonna let it play and then we'll come back to it.
Simple. I have not thought that Caleb Williams was a lock at number one because I thought Drake May would be the guy. I was wrong in that. Jaden Daniels should be the guy. If I were the Chicago Bears right now, I would take Jaden Daniels out of LSU. That is not a knock on Caleb Williams. That is a plus in Jaden Daniels. I think, number one, when you watch all these guys play, the best thrower, the best guy against man coverage, ball placement-wise, is Jaden Daniels. Number two, when we're talking about explosive play, like guys who have to throw the ball downfield, what does it look like? Jaden Daniels throws the ball best downfield. And then number three, who's got the best pocket piece? When I say piece, it's P-E-A-C-E. All these guys are athletic. It's no longer like this plus. Every one of these guys has that attribute. The patience and the peace within the pocket, he's the best at. Candidly, I think when it comes to what guy had the best game, none of these guys' games compared to Jaden Daniels against Florida. If you just watch that.
So I'm gonna stop it right there. So if anybody doesn't know, that was a switch up from the original tape that Dan Orlovsky had about Caleb Williams 2 months ago. And I was in his spaces, which I don't frequent anymore. Shout out to y'all. Have fun with that. But I said this and I said, give it 2 months. When I know Dan said at the time when he said Caleb is the guy he's taking. And he said it during that same sentence, that same conversation. I haven't looked at the tape, but I'm taking Caleb Williams. I said, as soon as Dan looks at the tape and has an opportunity to view the tape, he's going to flip his tape. And it goes back to what I said in my evaluation. I got cooked for it. Listen, I'm here for it. I'm always going to build my takes off of the football X's and O's. And I said, if I'm taking a quarterback, the guy that translates right now in the position we're trying to put Caleb in, this is the actual dude that y'all should be doing that to, because he's making reads 1, 2, 3, 4, ball out, 1, 2, 3, ball out. Oh, it's nothing there. I'm running. That translates to the NFL right now. So for the position that we're going to try and put Caleb in, I'm saying this is the pliability moment. I'm a Justin fan through and through. I say we should and we will take him. I'm going to get to that in a minute. But here's my explanation to you, right? First of all, let's go back to what you said about the haul. This is what I believe. The haul won't come necessarily from moving from 1 to 2. to many people's surprise. If it's announced, and it does, people may be disappointed because 1 or 2 may not garner what people are deeming as a haul. The haul will probably come in, more likely will come from 2 to whoever comes up, because the true value at quarterback position in this draft is that guy we just saw right there that play at LSU. Somebody's going to recognize that and say, y'all done effed up. I'm finna pounce on it. I want that dude. And I'm coming from a team ready to win, mid-tier, and this guy can plug in and play right now. Now, here's my take on, and my followers know this, so this is old hat to them. This is my take on and why I've written for what they will do, Justin Fields, because I know how to build offenses. I know how offenses are constructed. And from the moment they announced that they were keeping Semo and Coach Drake, and me and Clay Harbor had this conversation on the show, and I had Clay confirm that they do this in the NFL the way they do in college and high school. The offensive line coach is the creator and the author of pretty much 65 to 75% of any offense. And I'm just not talking about the offensive line. He makes up the offensive line calls for the run game. He's primarily the run game coordinator for the offense. By the way, they promoted Semo to run game coordinator, but he makes up the pass game calls. The language is the most part of any offense, the communication. What we're going to call this, what we're going to call that, slide protection, scat slide protection right is rain, slide scat protection left is lightning. They both come from the sky, lightning and rain. It's a pass play. That's what we're calling. He makes up the running back call. The running back call, where he goes, it's the offensive line. What are we going to call this? Oh, Semo, what are we going to call it? We're going to call that Smitty. Oh, okay. We're going to call it Rip or Liz. Right for Rip, left for Liz. Okay, he makes that up. The only thing that needed to happen for this offense, that creates, watch this, I'll take a step back. Your GM and your assistant GM are offensive linemen. And if I wanted to create a path, the shortest path to keep this team and keep continuity that we've heard from Kevin Warren, Ryan Poles, I'm going to keep the offensive line coach and the tight end coach. Why the tight end coach? Because the offensive line coach works with the center guards. The tight end coach works with the tackles and centers. Y'all go watch the Clay Arbor show. He confirmed that's how it's still done in the NFL, right? So if I want to keep continuity, I keep that piece, and I fire the guy that couldn't put together offense to save his life. Mm-hmm. I hire Shane Waldron, and all he has to do is come in and slap his past concepts on top of what Steve Sebo's already established in the run game, and we're off to the races. Justin doesn't have to learn a whole new offense, guys. He just needs to, hey, what are y'all calling this route concept, Shane? Okay, cool. Does all the wide receivers know? By the way, look out for this hot take. Look out for somebody from the Seahawks wide receiver core or LA wide receiver core that comes out of this system for us to sign one of those guys to be a player coach. That's a hot take. It's going to come. Continuity, right? So it creates the shortest path to, okay, we're up and running and we can run it back with this offense. Now, since then, a lot of other stuff has happened related to that food chain. Oh, and your girl, Courtney Cronin. This was funny to me, being a former offensive coordinator, where she asked this question, right? I'm going to let that play too. I thought that was funny because this speaks to what I just said about the language being the critical part of continuity and how you build offense, right? So
how do you go about planning an offense, though, at this point when you don't know? Or maybe you do, but like, at least right now, quarterback could be a couple different.
There you go. No, I think, as far as planning the offense, the first part for us was building a staff, getting everyone together. And then, you have staffs. We've worked together with different people in the past. People have had different experiences. But the first part of that is really speaking our language. What's the 2024 Bears going to look like in terms of how we're calling certain coverages? How are we calling routes? What concepts do we want to, have as part of our core offense when we start OTAs and we start with that building block approach.
Right there. Get me in the building. All I want to say is get me in the building, because I understand your language, Shane. If I'm building the offense, I don't care right now at this juncture. I don't care about who the quarterback is, because I have to make so many decisions with my staff right now so I can be prepared for whoever it is that, hey, Simo, what are we calling this? What are we calling that? Okay, wide receiver coach, this is what we call in this concept. So the continuity language, regardless of the quarterback situation, he spoke to it. So yeah, I basically, she asked the question, how can you build an offense without knowing who the quarterback is? I don't need that right now. I have to build the infrastructure to support that quarterback. And to me, the infrastructure and the angle at which the infrastructure is pointed at the guy the incumbent, the guy that we have. Because if I really wanted this kid to be successful, and I want Caleb to be successful as a quarterback, regardless of where he's going, and I said this in my previous tape, the best thing for the kid, and I'm not saying Shane can't do this, but the best thing for the kid to have NFL instant success is to go do what he did at USC to start out. And then they ramp him up and they take him off from a air raid RPO system, and they build upon that. And I'm not saying Shane can't do that, but that's not really what he does offensively. He's a mid-zone run, mid-zone, inside zone run concept guy. He does work a lot of short. He has like a bipolar kind of passing concept guy. He runs the West Coast stuff to make it effective. He's multiple. He runs the West Coast stuff to be effective when needs to be, but he's also a big play action. And again, guys, I'm not talking about what I think. Now I'm getting into what I know. So mid-zone, you're going to hear about. Inside zone, like we heard the other guy talk about outside zone, that's not necessarily Shane's thing. He gets to the outside, but he goes play action and goes vertical off of that. So basically what I'm saying, what I think they will do, they've created the infrastructure to run it back. They're just waiting on somebody to, hey, I got 3 firsts or 2 firsts or whatever it is, and then we run it back. To me, it's logical to me to be able to, and that keeps me from being emotional about the takes. I don't have to. I can rest on it because it was based off of logic, football logic to me. Y'all get y'all questions ready. Make sure y'all be respectful in the chat. I'm finna set you up real fast, KD, because when you come on the show, you got to give out the Drunk Uncle Award. That's part of Chicago Bears 360 staple. I don't know if you heard about the Drunk Uncle Award before, but I'll explain it to you real fast. The Drunk Uncle is basically that, man. We out here, we doing this social media thing, Bears DIY media, and we got a lot of drunk uncles out there. Sometimes the drunk uncles come at you crazy, man, and you know what I'm saying? Sometimes you got to just give them a award, man, and let them know you're just doing a little bit too much. So I'm going to slide to the DM section. We're going to check out a few questions, and I want you to think about that Drunk Uncle Award. Let's go.
Anything is possible, got feelings in my cup. I see everything in double, got 2 blunts, I'm rolling up. I've been walking in a circle, no expression, now I'm stuck. 30 for the client calls like Giannis chasing bucks. Anything is possible, got feelings in my cup. I see everything in double.
Down. They don't do it automatically no more. See, this is what happened, KD. Listen, when you got to be the producer, the host, you know what I'm saying? Like,
you got to multitask, man. You can do
man,
this.
Listen, I need somebody to put a sponsorship on this thing or something right now.
It's coming. It's coming.
Hey, we working. Matter of fact, shout out. We already got a producer lined up. We got a creative director guy already lined up. We're gonna kick that stuff off. A draft weekend. Get those guys implemented to the process. So I'm excited about that. So I was looking for questions in the comments. They just being entertained by the whole conversation, I guess. I hope y'all got something out of this conversation, some better understanding. You know what I'm saying? I appreciate Katie coming on the show, man. I know you guys are busy. Hell, you just came off of doing an interview with Lotto.
Yeah.
Did it go down or what happened?
No.
Oh, okay.
No. And the good lead, I hadn't left the crit because look, my whole thing I'm looking at. So getting that notice, like, all right, we're supposed to interview Lotto for next week's television show. Last minute, didn't go as planned. And I don't know if they reached out to us or if it was a situation where a producer reached out to them. Because, for instance, like the Alshon stuff that's out right now, he reached out. We're supposed to have somebody else. That one You know, Alshon, check out the Alshon interview. Alshon, I think, got to figure out if he's going to be a media. Just tell his truth. You know what I'm saying? And you don't have to take shots at anybody. And I mean, you could tell your side of something and point out, yo, I think this, I think that, even if people don't necessarily agree with you. And even if the questions, they want one answer and you give them a different one. But yeah, check out that one. But nah, and I don't even know as far as Latu was supposed to be on, for anybody that doesn't know. We said some of y'all supposedly got Latu, but yeah, it didn't go down. But my only thing, to be honest with you, was you had scheduled this about a week and a half ago. So when somebody takes the time out to schedule something, you don't want to fuck it up. And I had looked at the timing, because usually a lot of times it's like at 7. When I saw, damn, this is at 4 p.m., I'm like, man, let me contact him so he knows, you know, I'm trying to be on any BS, anything like that.
That's what's up, man. It's all respect. But the other part of that is, man, listen, when you own your own platform, your own show, you can move the time to do what you want to. So, and the people that rock with me, by the way, the 360ers, man, they rock with me. So they understand if I move the program up, I move it back. They know it's for a great reason, man. And we have, you know, we've been on a run of amazing guests in the last, since I got back from the Senior Bowl, man. So I'm definitely grateful for all of y'all in the chat. Agree or disagree, you know what I'm saying? It's always love and respect around here, man. They know how I get down. And the logical folks, for the most part, man, hang out with me. They want to learn football, man. And I, you know, at the end of the day, at heart, I'm a teacher, man. I teach how to read coverages, what this run concept is. We break it down during the season. So there's no ambiguity out there about, you know what I'm saying, what you're seeing on the field. And then you can make your observation from there, man. You can, if you choose to see, and I understand there's the emotionally handicapped that just can't help it. They, you know what I'm saying? They got to give in to their emotions every time something drops or moves and stuff like that. So it's part of it, man. But Katie, listen, I appreciate you here. We just over an hour. So, you know what I'm saying? It's the magic time of the show, man. I hope you had time to think about it. And listen, it's jest, or it could be serious. It goes either way with the drunk uncle, man. So I'm going to set it up and we're going to come back. Did I already do the drunk? I did the drunk uncle. Who's the drunk uncle award recipient of the week? Mr. Kenneth Davis.
Wait, so do I go through the chat, or is it just anybody in general that I'm picking?
No, you ain't got to pick from you can pick from the chat, but it's anybody in general. It could be a colleague. Last week, who was it? Nick Moriano gave it out to Carm. Greg Braggs gave it out to Greg. Greg had an epic one, Katie. There was a X account, and we cool now. We all cool. We was cool before, but he's infamous now because of this drunk uncle. Buddy had a jerk chicken restaurant business, and he came at Greg a little bit sideways that day, and Greg gave him the drunk uncle. But what we did was we sent all the people in the chat to patronize his business and flood his business and call his business and make orders. So we flooded his business so bad that Buddy picked up and tweeted me and was like, bro, what happened? It's crazy. All these people ordering jerk chicken wings or whatever. So, you know what I'm saying? It was like a cool little clapback. You know what I'm saying? We try to keep it fun, man, on the show, whatever. So it's your chance, man. You got the mic.
You know what? I'm gonna go for the. I don't have. I'm trying to think anything. Anybody did some crazy shit in the last. What would I say is the craziest thing that I've seen when just sports or in office? I'm gonna go with me then. I don't have nothing. I'm gonna go with me for switching up, since everybody came at me for switching up.
Hey, that's the great one.
Yeah, for switching up. That's the Drunk Uncle Award. I'll apply it to myself. The Drunk Uncle Award.
Hey, so there you have it for the week of, what is this, March 7th? It is. I don't keep up with the date. March 7th. Kenneth Davis giving himself the drunk uncle. I forgot to include that in the menu of options for you, because guess what? This is funny part about it, because people think we live and die on being right. And I take every time I had a bad take, I give myself a drunk uncle, which to show y'all how very frequent that happens. You know what I'm saying? I've called out where interception is going to happen on the field. I don't get no love for that. Tyson Bagent game. Y'all remember Tyson? I told him where Tyson, not if he was going to throw an intercept. I said he's going to throw it right here. He's going to throw an interception to the right flat. Watch it. It's going to happen in New Orleans game. And everybody's going crazy like, bro, how did you know it? Because I watch film, dog. Anyway, Man, I appreciate y'all. I appreciate you, KD, man, hanging out with us, man. It's all love. Obviously passionate about the subject. We all are. I think it's like this, bro. At the end of the day, this is how y'all should act. This is my true to heart belief. If we keep Justin Fields and we win the Super Bowl, how y'all gonna treat each other? How y'all gonna act? Right? We gonna be downtown at the parade, partying it up. If we pick up or draft Caleb Williams and we win the Super Bowl, how it's gonna be? It's gonna be the same. It's you know what I'm saying? If they draft Caleb Williams, take care of the young man. Make sure y'all build around him. Do the right thing by the kid. And for those that's putting unrealistic expectations on the kid, I told you based off the film, he's not there yet. Give him about 18 to 24 games before you start judging the kid, because I believe the people that's going extreme to the Caleb side, they're going to be the same ones that's on his head after 2 or 3 games, and it doesn't look quite right. Schematically, experience-wise, he's not there yet. So balance yourselves out. Everybody woosah, go smoke something, go drink something, make sure it's legal. And you know, have a Coke and a smile. No, I'm saying. Anyway, man, it was great having you, man. Always cool. We got to link up, man, when I come to the city or whatever the case may be, man. You know,
oh, definitely, man. If you and Will, we talking the same Will. We talking about Will Wright as far as the Will. We talking.
Yeah.
Will may owe me a steak, so yeah, you can be that. You can. He can get you one too, depending on. I may owe him a steak, but he'll have to get you one because he got more bread than I got.
Hey,
so,
I think
no, man.
Yeah, both of us, man. Anyway, man, it's been fun.
Keep the great work, bro. Keep up the great work. I've been seeing you the last couple of years, man. Keep doing your thing, and much success to you. Everybody out there, man. Be safe. And I'm gonna just end with this. This shit ain't as serious as we all trying to make
it. Ain't that serious, though. Hey, by the way, I'm gonna end with this. I have to issue, Katie. I have to issue a warning on Twitter, man, because things got so crazy. I said, bro, listen, I'm not inherently violent, but because things have got so crazy, y'all, if I'm in the city, y'all see me in the city, just don't run up on me, dog. Because the Marine in me, the way I'm gonna respond, I'm gonna assume the worst. I'm just letting y'all know off rip. So I'm gonna assume you a crazy Caleb fan and you don't like my takes. And so when I put that, you know what I'm saying, my boy Julius will understand this, what I'm about to say. When I put that grab, twist, pull, grab on your ass, it's gonna be a problem. Step over, stomp. That's how it go. Anyway, man, it's been fun having you, man. Y'all know how it is. I'm your boy, Coach T. This is Kenneth Davis for NBC Sports Chicago, the Undercenter podcast. Y'all check them out. What's the schedule, Katie?
Every Monday during the season is twice. So every Monday and Wednesday. No, every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. It's 3 times during the season. During the off season, it's twice. We're going to do draft stuff. Last year, I hosted the digital side. We did something throughout the first 10 picks as the Bears had the 9th pick. Now I'm sure we're going to do the same thing. Also, if you enjoy Under Center, we're going to do the situation from all the reporters from around the country that comes from those markets that the top 10 picks are coming in. They're going to select the player coming out of there. We're going to do that in the next couple of weeks. So make sure you check out that. Always appreciate it. Follow me at That's Davis. And again, like I said, man, take care of your things. You're doing well. Everybody be safe out there, man.
I appreciate y'all. We out of here. Y'all know past, present, future, we bear down. I'll see y'all next time. Peace.